Hey guys, how's it going? Today we're going to try and spec out a £1,000 setup for solo musicians, duos, entertainers, something that will fit in just about any club or bar, but also be great for working outside. This won't be a battery powered setup. If you do want a battery powered setup, then I suggest you look up here and you check out my video where I talk about setting up a really affordable and powerful battery setup. But for this video, we're going all powered. Now, I think we'll start with the elephant in the room, the thing that a lot of traditional people would think about for this setup, and that is the Yamaha Stagepas. Now, the Stagepas has gotten a lot better in recent years. It uses Bluetooth now. It's also more powerful. So this is the 600 BT, which I think comes with 10-inch speakers, which is pretty decent. They are only sort of 10 kilos each, and the mixer itself fits into the back of these. I'm sure you've seen these in like rehearsal spaces or probably with entertainers using them. I kind of think they're a really great thing. Fender had a go at doing something really similar, but with a bit more power in some ways. But I think they've pulled out of that market now. The one thing I will say about these speakers is they've got the maddest cables. They're like these really thin, like stereo cables. I wouldn't recommend using them if you are going to use this system, but I mean, they come with it, so I get it. It's generally affordable if you can get these second hand. They are a lot cheaper than this, but at $929, I think there's quite a good argument that we can get a much more powerful and better sounding PA for a similar sort of money. So I think we will have a go at beating this first. We'll try and find a system that will match or beat this first, and then we'll talk about what the more modern choice for this system is, and that is towers. So if you want to have a look at what I would do with a tower system, maybe go click on the button below. I'm sure I've tagged that wherever that is. But for now, we're going to try and see if we can beat the Stagepas and make a better system for around about the same money, £1,000. So let's have a look at it. I think our best option is to go back from here. We go PA speakers, and I think active PA sets might give us a few different options that will be kind of worthy of our money. We're going to go low to high, but I'm not going to go on the first page. I'm going to come down here somewhere. I mean, this is a great price. So you get a Behringer XR18 with two 112 DSPs for $825. If I were being lazy and I were wanting to make something equally as good as the Yamaha, probably actually louder and with more low end, then that would probably be it. I mean, it's so cheap, $825. I think that's a really comparable setup that will be able to do way more. I don't think you'll ever feel the end point of that XR18, but you will need to make sure you get Mix Station because the built-in app is pretty terrible. But that setup's probably going to be, in all situations, that Stagepas that we just looked at. I want to beat it even more. I want something that's really going to stomp it out of oblivion. And this thing below it, this is what's caught my eye. This is the Box, which is Foman's own brand. And we've got two 10-inch tops, same as the Stagepas, 18-inch sub. Now, this, I think, is a super powerful system. It's all powered by the sub, so the bottom end of this unit is going to be powering, most of it, and it's going to have so much more headroom than that Stagepas. And just by having a sub, you're going to get a huge amount more bottom end. Now, you notice the subs on wheels. That might be the main problem with this setup. I think an 18 in a lot of clubs and pubs might be really tricky, and I think it weighs something silly like 47 kilograms. You're not going to be carting this around by yourself. You're going to need another person to carry that. And if you're a solo artist or an entertainer, that just might not be possible. Of course, it's on wheels, so if you can wheel it in and out of your car, then maybe that's not an issue. But if I think about the situations where I would want to use this, wheels aren't going to help me too much. So I think we can get to this for a bit less money. I think we could probably look at something along the lines of, I know they do a slightly smaller version of that same one. Here it is. So this is 8-inch tops, 15-inch subs, 666. Really affordable. Maybe a little satanic, but still cool. Really affordable. 40 kilo sub still. So I still think we want a lighter sub for me. I think, let's have a look. I think they do a 12-inch. They do a 12-inch. Now, here I think the sub is right, but our tops are probably a little bit small. I would imagine the power amp isn't quite as powerful on this model as it is on the bigger ones. I could probably actually check that. What power amp have we got? 2 times 120, 2 times 220, 2 times 220. So actually the 15 and the 18 are pretty interchangeable. It's just kind of speaker size. But the power amp is a little bit less powerful on the 12. And obviously it's quite a bit cheaper than our Stagepas. So if we added that to my basket and we had a look at something like the Zoom LiveTrak L-8, I think we could probably get, we can definitely get an L6, which is probably great if you're a solo artist actually. But an L8 would put us right on par with the Stagepas, but we'd end up with something that's able to mix 4 lots of IEMs and monitoring. So you could go maybe up to a 3 or 4 piece band if you're doing something a bit more chilled and in the background. We've got 6 inputs plus our kind of stereo backing track input if you need that. And this records. So it's got the option of recording while you're doing it. I would probably go with that. If you wanted to keep that budget lower, obviously there is the Behringer Flow 8, which we've talked about quite a few times, especially in that video where I was speccing out a system that could be travelled around with battery power. The Flow 8 is a really great option. You're talking about 190 quid. It's got Bluetooth as well, so arguably it's more comparable with our Stagepas system. Pretty similar number of inputs and outputs too, and it's got built-in effects. It's probably going to sound just as good. It can be run off a battery as well if that's needed. So it's kind of multi-use in a different way from our Zoom. And like I said, you could have the Behringer Flow and the CL106 with the 12-inch sub for 728 quid. You could save yourself £200, have a sub and arguably a better mixer. Now, I think there is probably a better option again from that. And that's if we pushed that budget. We went for a similar lineup, but we kind of pushed that budget just a little bit more. There's a really cool speaker from LD called the Dave 12. So the advantage of the Dave 12 is, again, it's a 12-inch sub, so not overly heavy. What we're looking at, 27 kilos. Most people could probably handle that. But it's got 6.5-inch satellite speakers, so they're that little bit bigger. It's rated at quite a bit more output, if I'm honest. And if you are a solo artist, the built-in mixer in the LD Systems Dave, if I click on it now, let's have a look at that. So the built-in mixer actually could probably do you. It might be enough for solos or duo artists to kind of get away with it. You've got input 1 and 2, which have got a pretty basic kind of EQ on them. There's no reverbs or delays, so don't expect too much, I guess. And it's got a Bluetooth input. So yes, you will need stands for this, but you would for your Stagepas system. But it's got a fairly basic kind of EQ and mixer on it that would do the job. And if we topped out, again, that's kind of the price of the Stagepas. If we got rid of the box system, we could get that for 1,118. Now, we have gone entirely for pre-built systems so far. I think I can beat all of these, but I'm still going to keep my Flow 8. So I'm going to keep the Flow 8 as the mixing kind of area for my solo performance, for my duo, for my entertainment. That's going to be the thing that I base it around. I'd love to go for the LiveTrak. I would encourage everyone to go for the LiveTrak if they have a little bit of extra cash. But I'm kind of need that cash to come in level with this LD system. So let's see what we can do. Go into PA speakers. What I'm actually thinking is we look at the box again. Oh, not the box pro, the box. And I'm thinking we go for the multi-channel. So we try and find that that sub that is on the 12 there. £319. And we're going to see if we can get 2 of those. Now, that's already put us up near our budget, but it means we can buy passive tops. Now, passive tops are much, much cheaper than any active top. So if I go in here, we'll keep it brand savvy. We'll do for the box or the Box Pro, whatever we can get. So we can get a 4-inch top for £49 steel. We can get these kind of old school. I talked about this in one of my other videos about these old school carpeted speakers. We could get those. I would encourage you not to get those, but you could. Dual 4-inch speakers. That's going to be a bit more area coverage than a 6-inch speaker. So it's still actually a really good shout. We could get 2 of those and we would be a little bit over budget, but not too far. But this is what I'm thinking. It is going to put us over budget, right? But we're going to end up with 2 dual 6-inch drivers on either side. And I actually quite like the sound of dual 6-inch drivers. They've got a tweeter in these as well. And they're just 150 quid. I think a pretty great value prospect. And look, we're at 1125. But you've got something for, £200 more that has redundancy. Because you've got dual outputs on those power amps. So if one of the power amps goes down, you could technically power the other top. And you've got a pretty solid system there. You've got twice the amount of subs. You've got, because there's 2 and not 0, you've got 2 dual 6-inch tops, which have more area than the 10-inch top. And I think you've got a more solid mixer. So if I was looking at that £1,000 mark, yes, I know I've broken it, and I know that I would also need things like speak-on cables and XLRs, which you wouldn't need with the Stagepas, and you'd need speaker poles as well, but you do need those with the Stagepas too. But I think we've ended up with a much more powerful, compact, better system in all regards. I would 100% go for this if I was looking at a Stagepas and I wanted to spend that much money. I've given you some options for some lower amounts, but I would probably stretch. I'd buy this. I think this would cover loads of pubs. You can be really modular. You can have 1 sub, 2 subs. It can work however you like. I don't think you would be disappointed with this system. Now, the big ominous thing in the room is that actually most of you entertainer guys have moved away from the Stagepas. The Stagepas has definitely seen its day, and even if I search Stagepas, the Stagepas has now changed. This is the new Stagepas, the Mark II, and it is a column. And we are seeing way more of these column speakers, and there's every argument that you could just grab this single Stagepas Mark II and it will be as powerful as the PA I just put together and less money, and it's got a built-in mixer which is pretty decently powerful as well with a monitor output. It can do most of the things that I've just talked about, and I think it even comes with it comes with covers. So there is a huge argument of going for this. But again, I don't know if I would go for this as my option. I think if I had £1,000 and I was looking at a tower, I would be going for the ES503. Now, there's kind of a big reason why I would go for the ES503, and it's displayed in this picture here. You can have a stereo pair, and the ES503 sub, same as the 1K's sub, sounds really good. It's actually got quite a bit of bottom end, not as much as a dedicated sub would, but it's got quite a bit of bottom end. You can split the top into a stereo pair, and you can actually almost afford two of these for the price of that Stagepas. Granted, you will need a mixer, but I would encourage most people to buy one of these, and then I would tell them to buy something like the Flow 8 or the Zoom, and then when they outgrow one of them, buy a second one, because you can run it in its stereo pair. It can work well like that, and when you get the second one, you've got a really powerful rig. I think this will fill basically any room, super lightweight, really, really clear. I mean, I don't think it's the best for vocals. The mid-range is a little bit lacking, but I actually don't think that's going to matter, because in those situations you're going to be mixing your vocals so high above the backing track anyway that it's not going to matter as much. Well, it wouldn't for me at least. I would really be tempted with the 503. It probably is a little bit heavier than the first Stagepas and maybe even the new Stagepas, but it's a really great column type speaker, and like I said, it's just so flexible. I can't see why there would be any argument to go for anything else. The only thing I might pick is actually a HK product, and I know I'm always talking about DB Technology, HK and the box, but this is a good product. I can't take away from it. The HK Polar 12 is a really powerful single column. So if you want that single column thing like the Stagepas, you could get this and the Flow 8, and you've got a more mono setup than the DB, but this is a really powerful column. You know, they're rating it at 127. There's the Polar 12 and the Polar 10, and I think they're probably a really great shout if you are a solo entertainer. They take relatively little room. They come with bags, because the big downside of that 503 is you don't get the bags, and they are really quite expensive from DB Technology. They're quite good bags, I'll give them that, but they kind of are expensive. Unlike the box setup that we put together at the beginning, it does come with the cables, and it also comes with the stands, so you know it's kind of already an all set up system. But I think the Polar 10 and the Polar 12 could be another good option if you want that more sleek design without the pole and the wires. I don't see the point in going for the Stagepas 1K. I know also a lot of people go for the Bose systems. I think Bose actually sound really great, but they've got that kind of what's the word? They've got that kind of, people love Bose, and so Bose can charge however much they want. They're a bit like Apple, you know, they've got the Apple tax. There's a bit like a Bose tax as well. And so you can buy a lot for the price of a Bose. Just looking here, like the Pro 8 is just over $1,000. And I think this has got an 8-inch, 8x2. Oh, right, yeah. They've got a 7x13. They use like kind of an oval driver. That confused me for a second. I read that as 7 13-inch drivers, but no, it's like they're kind of oval driver in there. In the sub, I think I would rather go for the I'd rather go for the ES over that, personally, for me. Although the Bose mixer is great. It does cost a little bit of money, but it's a really great little mixer if you've got a bit of extra money. It could be another good option to consider if you didn't want the Flow 8 or the Zoom. It's really intuitive, easy to use. The downside, yes, it's expensive. Yes, it's kind of aimed at people using Bose systems. So maybe not the perfect choice, but yeah, I think for me, it comes back to this. This is what I would recommend most people with £1,000. We're going to spec out the ES503. If you're just starting out, we're going to get you everything you need for this. So you do need them, do need that, you do need that. So we want 2 of those. We want 1 of those. Want 1 of those. Just refresh this. So with the stand and the bags, we're up at that grand mark. Like I said, the bags are really expensive for this unit. I don't really know why. They're good. They're really good. Don't get me wrong, but they are expensive. And actually the ones we've got have ripped. So I can't even say that they are especially more hard wearing than others. They can rip, but that gets you kind of on your way to that setup. I'd actually be tempted to say buy some generic bags to stick those in, and if you did that, you could also then get, you know, some cables. I'm going to do the same thing. I know someone had a go at me for not saying you should make your own cables, but most people who are starting out, I feel like they don't want to do that. And this is for you guys starting out. So let's grab 4 cables. I think Cordial make great cables. The FM Elements line is really affordable and they're pretty decent. Let's get a vocal microphone. Now you could consider a wireless microphone. I know a lot of entertainers prefer a wireless microphone. I'm going to give you another option. So we're going to get a T-Bone MB85. That gets us somewhere. Ooh, right. We're gonna dice with death. We're going to go for the cheapest wireless XLR I can find. Now I'm going to put this in the basket. I think they'll probably be absolutely fine. They've got OK ratings. They'll probably be fine. If you are in a room with bad Wi-Fi, they probably won't be. Lots of Wi-Fi, probably going to be an issue. So I'd recommend always having spare cables just in case. I've tried quite a few of these little wireless XLRs in my time. I think they're all much the same. Wireless over 2.4 is fine. It works in some rooms, it doesn't work in others. Outside, you're probably okay as long as you can keep a line of sight with it. I actually did a trick where I ran it to the front of the stage using an XLR right in front of the singer, and that seems like a really good spot to put these because it can kind of keep line of sight as they go back and forth. Kind of put it in monitor position if you like. And it seems to work quite well doing that, as long as you can keep it away from power if possible. Yeah, they do the job. They're fine. And if you do run that XLR out there as well, if anything does happen, it's just clip on, clip off, and then clip into the same exact XLR that it was plugged into. All your settings should be the same, and it should just carry on your performance as you go, and you'll just be wired up. So yeah, I think these will be fine. But here we are, just over £1,000. We've got mixer with a case, PA without a case, lob it in a bag. Hopefully it's safe, I don't know. You can figure that out. You've got your stands, 2 of them, so you can run the tops off of the sub if you want to do that. You've got 4 XLR cables, decent quality ones. T-bone mic, it's okay. Is it the best? No. If you've already got one, you can ignore these top 2 bits anyway. And the T-bone free to be. £1,000. If you are an entertainer or you are a solo or a duo, this is the setup I would recommend. Have a look at it, look through. Let us know below what you would choose. Let me know what you did choose. If you are one of these people, what have you done anything from this setup? Would you change anything from the setup? Let me know. If you can drop me a like if you got to this point in the video, that would be amazing. Subscribe. Have a look at this video where I talk about a wireless setup with a battery powered speaker. And until next time, I'll see you later.